ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest here on the Just Acting Up show. Man, it's been a long time coming. I've been wanting to get this guy on here, but we're busy. We're busy, huh? Okay, so that's how it is sometimes. So got to introduce brother the right way. He is an actor, producer, and father. You know him, I know him, and now y'all about to get to know him. Jeff Zarinelli. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Just trying to keep on keeping.
Yeah, hey, right there with you. We was having a great conversation before we logged on here, and we definitely will unpack some things, man. And you're right. All of us here, like we head into the holiday season, we definitely are trying to keep on keeping, man, with auditions and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Hey man, I'm glad you at the show, man. Glad you took the time out to come see us, and yeah, we can get this interview started. We already interviewed him in a way, so this is like post interview, no pre interview.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Jeff, let's go ahead and get into it now. Real quick, icebreaker question. So, where exactly originally are you from? Can you share with us where you're from?
Well, I'm originally from St. Louis, Missouri. I was born and raised there, and moved. Only moved to go to college in Kansas City. Came back, lived my life a bit, and then moved to Chicago, where I'm currently based.
Nice, nice, nice. Now, what is it that you love about St. Louis?
St. Louis,
Yes,
the
sir.
barbecue, the pizza. I
Oh,
know it's a love-hate relationship with people with pizza, and if you've ever watched Jimmy Kimmel, he loves to make fun of St. Louis style pizza. He calls it snot cheese, but it's a gooey, melty cheese that they use called Provel, not provolone, but Provel, and I love it. I was raised on it, so really thin, tangy sauce pizza, a lot of flavor.
oh,
Um,
oh. We're gonna get a lot of people that says, "Hey, I challenge you to a pizza." Pizza. Maybe we should just do that one day. Just get
As
like,
of right now, I believe Chicago got it. Chicago got it. I'm sorry, so sorry to say it. Chicago has it. When we was there on our last day, we went to go to a pizza spot. That pizza was about as big as a cake. They 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 got it. I woke up the next day like I'm not eating that today.
well, that deep dish, it's a different animal, man. It's
Yes,
it's
it is.
more of a casserole than a pizza.
oh
Yeah.
man, you're right
Yes.
about that.
Yes, it is. Yeah, and with us Texans, we think like one box is not enough, but that is enough.
Oh yeah,
That is enough.
one slice is a meal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one slice. That's it. Is the portion control is terrible in Chicago.
Well, that's probably why we're one of the most obese cities in the nation.
Oh
Oh
man,
man.
we,
Oh
we,
man.
we definitely can rival us here in Texas. With like, cause good gracious, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Um.
everything's big in Texas.
Everything. New Orleans portion control is bad too. Louisiana is terrible too. So let's get that together, okay, America?
Yeah. So
If you
you're
can.
if you
Um,
can.
before you got into acting, what was one of your jobs like? Your jobs.
My job. Well, went to school. I was a double major, design and illustration major,
Mhm.
and even though I went that route with graphic design, with technology, the computer programs will kind of took over the most of the job.
Mm,
With graphic design, most of it's typography, and the
Mm.
computer now, especially with AI and all this stuff, man, it just cranks everything out. So it's the pay went way down. I'm like,
Okay.
mm,
I can't do this. I've got a college degree, and I'm making $9 an hour.
Oh.
This was back in 2002, and
Mm.
so I was able to work. I was working with a medical lab, a dental lab, and I was a certified dental technician. But I was working uh, uh, design, but also with human resources, and then getting good pay. But company got bought out by a company from China, and I was
mm,
out of a job. So I went back to my fine art realm, and started painting murals for a living, which was pretty lucrative at the time. I ended up just in my second year of painting murals. I ended up at uh, football legend Orlando Pace's house, Torrey Holtz, and baseball player Albert Pujols. I was at his house for about 3 months painting for them, and got to know the family, and it was amazing. It was a lot of fun, and subsequently, that was my first time that I got my first shot at television. So I was actually at Albert's house painting for his son AJ, and get this call from uh, uh, I believe it was a producer of the show, and he's like, "We're going to be in the area." I was living in Highland, Illinois, a small town, kind of in a very rural area east of St. Louis, in Illinois, and Pocahontas is the next town over. And if you have any country music fans that watch, they know Pocahontas from Gretchen Wilson. So she was building a house for a low income family through Habitat for Humanity, and they wanted to know if I could paint a mural on the television show, teach her how to paint murals. Sure, I'll do it. Of course, they didn't pay me because it was through Habitat for Humanity. It was the way they got around paying an actor. But I did the show, and the director came up to me. She's like, you're kind of new to this, so we might get 11 to 20 takes before we get it right. Just, that's normal. Well, Gretchen and I got it in one take. And director comes back up to me. She's like, "You've done this before." And I go, "No, you be doing this before." Which I did another show with Trace Adkins. It was on a CMT called Home Blitz. And I decided I couldn't do it on my own dime anymore. So I quit, and which was a mistake because most of that staff all went on to Extreme Home Makeover with Ty that next year. And I missed that boat. But yeah, I just continue with the murals and oil paintings. Like that. Here's one that's on my easel right now.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It's of a Sedona, Arizona kind of area. But yeah, I enjoy painting. I still do it on my downtime.
Yeah.
But when I moved to Chicago, I knew there's a lot of things filming in Chicago, and I've always had that actor bug in me, ever since high school. And I had scholarships in high school waiting for me for theater, and my parents kind of said, "Nah, you're not going to do that. You would have a better chance of being a starving artist than a starving actor." They said that, and I became a starving artist, which is kind of funny. But then when I moved up here, I decided, you know what? I'm 40. What am I doing with my life? I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to see what it's like being on set. So I'm going to apply for extra roles to be an extra. So I was an extra on Empire, and in fact, I made Terrence Howard break character once. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, just got my feet wet with that. And one of the I was on Chicago Fire as an extra, and I remember the director of the extras was actually the writer, Derek Haas, the writer of all the shows. And, he gave me compliments. I was the only extra doing the right things, and not being too loud, knowing my moments. And he's like, "You need to get yourself an agent," is what he said to me. Like, okay, how do I do that? So I took a class in Chicago, and a Vagabond, and teacher there, the instructor, he goes, "Yeah, I think you're ready for an agent." Even after my first class with him, he gave me a list of agents in Chicago, and said, you just need to get some professional headshots. Here's a list. Go to one of these guys, which I went to Tyler Core in Chicago, and in March of 2022, I signed with Dream Team Talent as my first agent. And this normally doesn't happen, but my first month and a half, I had 6 bookings, mostly really, small independent shorts and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
Had my first booking on Chicago Fire uh, as an arsonist in season 11, episode 3, which I get
Mhm.
to fight with the main character, uh, Kelly Severide, who takes me down, and my character goes to prison, so there's no reprising the character, unfortunately. But
Mm.
that's kind of my journey. That's how it all started. It happened quick.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Off to
Uh,
the off to the races after he told you about your that. You know what? I'm sorry to back up a little bit. I think that's really cool that somebody from behind the scenes that working behind the scenes to come up to you and talk to you and say, you know what, you got something, and you get cast in a few independent films here and there, and they saw something in you that was very special, and like you said it yourself, it's rare for somebody from that's behind the scenes to come up and say that to you, because we know we've all done background work before, but it's something that people just come up like, you should try this, and you took off. So congrats on that, man.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for actors that are just now getting into this world or want to get into the world, I have to tell you probably the main thing that's probably stood out in their eyes, and this is something that I've been helping other young actors with recently, is I see two versions of people starting to get in the acting. By far, most of the actors I see when they're starting off, they, they're their mindset is completely off of what it should be. And the
Mhm.
mindset is, I want to be famous. They want
Mhm.
Mm,
to be famous. They want to be on People magazine. They want the hot cars, the hot women, all that kind of stuff. It's like, that's the wrong way to do it. You're only going to set yourself up for failure, because in the acting world, it's just like anything. I'm 5'10". I'm never going to play for the NBA. Plus, I can't jump.
Right.
You have to have the skill sets first, the
yeah.
inert skill sets. But you also have the passion. And
Mhm.
acting, I mean, you don't have to be in a certain height or weight or look or anything. You can you just have to have that passion, that fire. Okay,
Mhm.
and it's the craft of acting is not acting but being. Taking
Mm,
taking a story, and we're storytellers. That's first and foremost of what we do. We're storytellers. So when I'm acting, I'm reciting the lines, but being the character and not acting. Just so
mm,
to further explain that point, it's like there's a great book for anybody who's a young actor or starting out in the business, or even seasoned. Larry Moss, The Intent to Live. This book
mhm.
is a freaking a Bible here. I mean, Jim Carrey, Tobey Maguire, David Duchovny, Jason Alexander, Helen Hunt, um, Leonardo DiCaprio. They all swear by him and this book. Leonardo DiCaprio actually calls Larry Moss his mentor.
Mm.
So get that book, because it's game changing. And this says that it's one of his quotes from this book is, it's not about the lines, it's about the life. So
Ah.
if you as a young actor or starting, just starting out in the business, that's a huge takeaway. It's about the life of the character, not the lines. Forget about the lines.
I
What
have.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I have a good friend of mine. Shout out to Michael Burton. We went to high school together. He's still a good friend. I still talk to him to this day. And when I started off acting in 2018, I'm 42. I don't know why I keep saying 42. I'm 41 now. So I started off late, and I remember I was having a conversation with him. I said, "Bro, I'm starting this off late. They got people that's like in there that's been doing this since they was teenagers in their 20s and this and that and the third." And he brought the same thing that you just said is what he told me in a nutshell. He said, "If you honestly think about it, you could be a great actor because you're living life. It's like when you're in your teens and 20s and you're an actor, you haven't been an adult fully paying bills and take care of the family and just the mental health struggle that you have to go through just every single day. So if they was to give you a task to say this is a person who you have to play that's going through those similar things, you would kill it because you recognize the life And that's cool that you mentioned that, because that helped me change the way I'm thinking going towards this career.
Yeah, and you also bring up a great point too. You thought it was too late, and I did too, because I was 43 when I started,
Mm.
Right.
and uh, I was thinking, oh, it's too late. It's too late in the game. Well, I did my research, and turns out Morgan Freeman, who everyone
Yes.
knows, he's a great, phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
He started when he was 46,
Yeah.
so it's
Mm.
never too late.
No,
Yeah.
it's
Never
not.
too late.
Yeah.
In
Never,
fact,
never.
I think I'm a better actor now because I'm in my 40s, because when there's a character that I need to bring something in. This character has had, he's been damaged, or PTSD, or whatever it is. I can take parts of my life that I've lived, and I can use that for my character.
Mm-hmm.
Younger actors that are getting in their 20 years old, a lot of them, people haven't really experienced life yet, so they can't draw from those things.
True. Very true. Very true. And thank you, Jeff, for sharing that book as well too. That's really going to come in a lot of handy for a lot of us that's trying to figure this thing out, because not everybody has the answers to it. And we're like Mike was just saying, and you just stated, when you're younger, you're like, I'm trying to figure out this thing called life first, and then you've been put in this position. Like, I don't know what this thing is. So thank you for just sharing that right there.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. It's like you gather all the information and struggles and say, "Oh, you want me to play this guy? I got you."
yeah,
The
I've
struggling
been there.
guy. Oh, okay. No, no
Yeah.
problem. Right.
I know how it is when the rent is due and I have no money. Yeah,
Oh, I know. I know
yeah,
exactly how it feels to live paycheck to paycheck. I don't even need the script.
yeah, yeah, man. Let me back up a little bit before we talk about the projects you've been in real quick. You mentioned that you used to paint and draw and murals. What
Mhm.
was I know you just showed one of your other murals that you've done, but what is
Mhm.
one of your most breathtaking one that you've done? Another one that you can tell us about or share with us, or the experience behind it.
Well, yeah, it's over there. You give me a second. I'll
Oh
go
yeah,
grab it.
yeah, most definitely.
I think it's this bad boy here.
Oh
Oh wow.
wow, man, that is nice,
See
dude.
that? Kind of like moved in a weird way, but
Oh
um,
no, we see it perfectly.
That's nice, man.
yeah, that's that was inspired because of what got me into oil painting in the first place. Is going to the museums as a kid and seeing these beautiful oil paintings from the old masters, and particularly Rembrandt, Caravaggio, Artemisia Gentileschi, uh, in the Baroque era, where it's like heavy darks and lights. Really got the figure, yeah, it looks so three-dimensional. How did they do that in a two-dimensional space?
Yeah,
And it
Mhm.
was that's what just captivated me, that and color. And so that, yeah, I painted that as an homage to Caravaggio, uh, who's my main inspiration. And that's when I converted from painting murals to oil paintings, because I was like, I don't know if I could do this. I was intimidated, but nah, you
yeah,
just got to go for it.
yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man. That's a nice. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
How long? Let me on the same thing about painting. Like you've been painting when you was a kid. Like was that something you always wanting to do, or you just had it? Like it was like a natural talent, or
Uh, Drawing mainly back when I was a kid. I didn't really start painting until high school is when I really picked up a brush for the first time.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
but I was too intimidated by oils, so I started with acrylics. But when I was at the art institute, is when I really found oils and experimented with them for my illustration classes. And instead of doing traditional illustrative paintings with drawings and stuff like that, with pen and ink and
Mm-hmm.
pencils, I decided to use oil paints for my illustrations. And
Mm.
yeah, just like anything, you just gotta just say the heck with it. I'm not gonna be intimidated. I'm just gonna do it.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid. And this is true with anything, oil paintings, drawings, acting, anything in any profession. You have to make mistakes to grow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you know, football, you know, if you're out there playing football, you know, and you do everything right, you know, make the right route and everything, but you drop the football, you know, you could have won. You had the game winning touchdown. You're not going to make that mistake again.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're going to practice more and more of how to catch the ball where it's not going to bounce off of your chest or bounce off your. You're going to figure it out,
Nice.
and that's what life is about. Just, you know, you make a mistake, you go right back at it, and you figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Exactly.
Yes,
So,
sir.
the projects that you've been on, Chicago PD and Chicago Fire,
Mhm.
you worked on two, they two different shows. So within the same universe, which is pretty cool. I mean, kudos to you. That's like working on Avengers, and then you was on Ant Man, and then you was on. It's like, man, this guy's everywhere. So, to share your experiences,
Well, I tell you, the first, you know, like I said, it happened quick. My first time I was on, I had a co-star on Chicago Fire as an arsonist. I think my name was Jack Howard, and oh, I was nervous as hell. I
oh,
took half of a Xanax right before we went,
oh,
and but you know, really, it's just following direction. You know, you have to put that nervousness. In fact, that nervousness, instead of having it be a monkey on your back, use it. Take that nervousness and say,
Mm.
okay, you're mine. I'm going to use you, you know, into my, because the character that gets that Kelly Severide and the cop that's with him in that
mm,
episode, you
mm,
know, my character's going to be nervous because you know, my character runs to the van, grabs the gun, and a fight
mm,
ensues. You know, that's, you
Mhm.
know, I used it for it, and it turned out in my favor because it worked well, and you know that take was perfect.
Yeah.
So uh, you know, you could be intimidated. A lot of times, people are intimidated by the A-list stars or the, you know, the number one on the call sheet. Um, but if you're just genuine, they're the nicest people, and they're here to help you. They want to see you succeed. You know, they're not looking for you to fail. They're looking for you to succeed. So that's how you had to turn that mindset around. And right after Chicago PD, 1 week later, I had to go to New York I was on the set for a co-star role on Black Rabbit that's out on Netflix right now, and
yes,
with
yes,
Jason Bateman and Jude Law.
yeah,
Yeah.
Phenomenal show, and I'm lucky to have been a part of it, even though it's a very small part. I've got my lines were taken out, and this happens a lot too. You know, you could be a
mhm,
co-star, and co-stars will have very minimal lines to begin with.
Mhm.
Um, but like, you know, ring doorbell, here's your pizza. That's it. That's a co-star role.
Yeah.
Um, my lines got taken away because of the confusion of the scene, which you had a lot of police that were yelling, but I was the photographer in the seventh episode of eight, uh, episode seven, where Jude Law's character is being interrogated by the cops. There's two dead bodies on the dance floor of the Black Rabbit, and my character comes in and disrupts it by taking photos as paparazzi. When the police engage me, that gets Jude Law's character a chance to escape with the phone. So it was a pivotal moment, but yeah, I didn't have no lines. It's basically, it was a, you know, it was almost like an extra role. So you know, but you know, I was there for the moment, and
Mhm.
I have to be proud of that. Even that small 2 seconds that I'm on screen, because it did help the integrity
Mhm.
of the scene. But Jude Law was, you know, he was so genuine, and he's an A-lister, you know, and
Yeah.
mhm,
so genuine to me and really nice, kind. He even told me, you know, it's he's been there before, you know, and this is just part of the journey, and just such a sweet guy.
Yeah.
Uh,
yes, yeah,
so all those nerves, you know, it's just nerves. You use it as an actor. You just use it and know that everybody there, they want you to succeed, because that's the most intimidating thing that new people getting on set fear. They fear screwing up. They fear that everybody, all their eyes are on you to screw up. No, no, no. The
Mm.
eyes are on you to help you. So
mhm.
that's the way to beat those, you know, to beat those doubts.
Yeah, man. Thank you for sharing that too, and being vulnerable enough to share that because we always hear stories about how once people get the role and you see them on scene for that many seconds, but sometimes they don't hear you know the other stories about, man, I traveled here to get on this set. Now I got this scene, and then you find out that it gets cut or these lines taken away or that. But like you said, and we mentioned earlier, you keep going, and then also the experience behind it, and it just fills you, and you right off of the nervousness. And a lot of actors need to know that for those that are in it now and those who are about to get into it, of what could happen. So Jeff, thank you, man, for sharing that, dude.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. Any opportunity that I don't get, I pretend like I got it already.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I got it, So that's a good mindset to have. Now, speaking about opportunities that you had, but you will get a second chance as an insider. But would you like to share what we talked about in Chicago with the you were going to work with Adam Sandler and then they took it back. I feel like, brother, you was already on there, but I'll let you explain your
Well,
story.
yeah, I'm honored to have. I auditioned twice for Happy Gilmore 2. One was
Yeah.
for a very upset liquor store clerk. Subsequently, when I watched the movie, it's like, oh, I see why I didn't get that part. Uh, uh, who was it? Ben Stiller's daughter played that part.
Mm.
So
Oh,
I had two other friends of mine that also auditioned for that, and it's like, oh, that's why none of us got it. But yeah, they liked me for a certain role. My agent had told me that I was pinned for a role as the waiter, and just like 2 or 3 days later, she goes, Jeff, I got some bad news. Travis Kelsey became available. So they wanted him for that role, and they're going to move me somewhere else, which never happened. But the last conversation that my agent had with him, they said, "Oh, we like him. He's in our Rolodex. We'll get him in uh, uh, the next one. The next project." So whether that happens or not, I'm just honored to have been in the conversation.
Yeah.
yep, yep.
But those things happen. Things move all the time, especially with feature films. I mean, you're gonna, the director is gonna look at things. Some things were great on script, on paper, but when you're actually filming, it's like, you know what? It's gonna be better if we change some things up. People lose roles all the time. People get cuts. I was at a viewing party for a friend of mine had her first co-star role, and we watched the whole thing. They cut her role completely out, and
Yeah.
she was devastated.
Yeah.
But we were still all there for her, and you know what? She still got paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still got paid. She still got considered. That's still a win.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's still a win. I saw a video with someone. It's this new movie out called Powers, where it's like a quarterback. You know what? I think James, because you like the post.
Hmm.
It's on Hulu. But long story short, her part got cut. The hot tour girl
Yeah.
played. Yeah.
Yeah.
But she wasn't mad, but she made like a little funny video, like she was upset, had a viewing party, and was like, "Hot tour girl took my part." Ah! But she wasn't mad. She was just making fun of the situation, making light of the situation. But
Yeah.
yes, that does happen a lot. But I take those as wins anyway. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, and another thing about, a lot of people don't know about how hard it is to get even a single role, even
Mm.
in the indie film. I know a casting director I'm friends with, and he's got a non-union indie film right now. They put on Actors Access. He had over 4,700 submissions that he has to go through, and
Wow.
out of that 4,700, he gives 400 of those 4,700. That's 10% of them actually get to audition. And after
Mhm.
those 400 auditions, he's got 10 roles. So,
Mhm.
again, do the math. I mean, it's just getting the audition. You've beaten out 90% of the
That's
movie.
right.
Just getting
Yeah.
the audition is a win.
Just getting the audition. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? That's why I like what you mentioned earlier. Like we ran into you at their Actors Empowerment Summit, and we talked about that and everything. And they mentioned that too, like just getting the audition. I know James Demont, who we had on here, has mentioned that as Leroy's mentioned it. And it's hard work. It's fun when you get it, but like we said, they don't ever hear about what I think was that one picture that they show on social media, the iceberg, where they say what everybody else perception and what they see, and then they see below the iceberg everything that you go through to get where you're trying to get. So it's cool that we share these things and for the people to know that we're having fun, but it's some hard work. But we keep on going because, like you said, we love it and we love what we do. So
That's right.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
I think it was Michael Rappaport that said that luck plays a lot into like getting casted, but I don't really believe in luck. It's really just being present. It's like you
Mhm.
just gotta be present. That's all. So once you get those submissions and you send it off, and like me and James say, you submit and then forget, and
That's right.
then once you get the audition, you knock it out. And I have done so many auditions from the past couple of years, I forgot. I get like, oh, you got this part. Like, what the hell did I audition for
Mhm.
that?
That's right. I've definitely been there. In fact, there's been the auditions where it's like, oh man, I don't feel this part. I'm just gonna do it. And I just do one take and I'm just like, I'm just gonna submit it. And those are the ones you usually book.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, yeah. It's crazy as it is, man. And so, Jeff, we want to be respectful of the time, and I know you have some auditions to do, but I know there is one other story that you want to share with us, or a certain booking that you have that's coming up for a certain set you're going to be on next year. Would you?
Yes, that's a horror film called Hell's Gate.
Mhm.
And it's I can't give away the plot, but it's basically like Children of the Corn meets Charles Manson. It's about cults and how desperate people can be caught up in a cult to right the wrong, um, even though it could be dark. Because most in television or film, most of the best villains that we see, they all believe they're in the right.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's what happens with cults and things like that is you're victimized, and you feel like you need um, to reassert yourself in a like-minded fashion with a group. That's how the groups come together, and then you do really dark things, but
Hmm.
you justify it in a dark way. So that's what it's about. And we have let's see, couple known people in that realm in the horror genre. Robert Lasardo will be one of our leads, as well as Bill Oberst Jr. Um, and my good friend Laura Meadows, she'll be playing my sister, and I'll be playing Ronald, of course, her brother, one of the cult members. And we have Bill Diamond, who's a three-time Emmy Award winner for set designs and lighting. He's a part of it too, and it's written by Aaron Hawkins and Lydia Manson.
Mm.
And Lydia
Nice.
Manson, I don't think she has any relation to Charles Manson, but
I
you
don't
never
think
know.
so. No, 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 no. No. We'll just say no. Man, Jeff, thank you so much for sharing that. We definitely, when that happens, we definitely have to have you come back on, or not just that, but just come back on again when just to talk, conversation, share more of your experiences, more stories. Before we get out of here, share something, a little advice with the audience or a gem or two that has helped you that can help them in their acting.
Okay, yeah. Um, don't look at your fellow actors as competition, even if you're auditioning for the same role. You want to be their biggest cheerleaders. This world, and we think, I mean, there's how many people in SAG? There's 280,000 members of SAG. That's a lot. But
Hmm.
even so, it's a really small world.
It
And,
is.
everybody seems to know each other. So community, build a community of your other actors and help each other out. Because when you have that positive spirit, I mean, you know, this is a hard enough job as it is to be an actor. And,
Mhm.
so we need each other. And
Mhm.
so, build a community, don't be in competition with your friends, but root for your friends. and get a mentor. You know, I've been fortunate enough to have two great mentors in Jeffrey Blake, who you know from Forrest Gump. He was the guy at the Black Panther Party that had the circle glasses that slaps Jenny and
Ah,
the fight with Tom Hanks. You know, he's a great guy. He helped me out a lot. And then, of course, my dear friend Glenn Morshower. And these are actors that aren't necessarily A-listers, but they're very recognizable in countless TV and you know, countless shows. Get a mentor, somebody who's been there before, that's willing to help you out, and that I can't state that enough, because that's really what helped me, especially with my confidence and mindset.
Nice.
well,
And I thank you for sharing that, man.
Oh, it's an honor to be here with you fine gentlemen, and I look forward to, you know, doing this again. This is
yes,
great.
sir.
I you know you know, I love this. So I'm always watching Just Act Up show, and I encourage all of you, you know, make this a daily or weekly regiment.
Mhm.
Sir, greatly appreciated. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Jeff Zarinelli.